Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite is everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 35% off. Make sure you guys go there and check that out. So we are here. We're doing the 53-man projection. I mean, it's almost training camp. I mean, like the training camp's almost a week.
A week from when we're recording this, when the rookies are going to get there. So a week from Sunday the 14th, 21st, the rookies get there. Vets get there the 23rd. So, coming up, man.
Yeah, man, it's perfect. My girls go right back to school the next day, so I ain't got to, I have some
July.
July 24th, man. They go right back.
Damn. Why do they go back so early? Are they like year round?
It's weird. Like they get longer breaks, so they get 2 weeks in spring break, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there.
Oh yeah. Not to get on a tangent. I've heard of, like, my wife's a teacher, but like they go back earlier. And like when I went, it was when we first started. It was like the week after Labor Day or whatever, like that Wednesday after Labor Day. Then it was like the end of August, like when I was in high school or whatever, in middle school. And now it's like beginning of August, but July, that's early.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But like,
it's early, man.
Fall break and all that stuff too. So they get like a fall break and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 2 weeks, all the other stuff. But yeah, so I have more time to cover training camp and get the kids to be school. It would be good, but but yeah, so that's gonna be happening pretty soon here. So we're gonna go do a little 53-man projection. Not really going news wise. Adams, comments about Aiden O'Connell. Kind of already talked about that a little bit. And then there's Max Crosby's tweet, but we're not gonna get too deep on that. We really don't care about that here. It's taped a lot, so not really none of our business. Great edge rusher, great motor. So we ain't gonna worry about anything like that. So not gonna get a deep dive into that. But we're gonna do our 53-man projection, kind of giving our idea of who's gonna make this football team and who's not, any surprises that we have, and any different looks that we think will happen here. Yeah, so I don't know what else we could kind of just dive into it, right? I mean, there's really nothing to get into, huh?
Yeah, I mean, let's do it.
Let's dive into it. All right, so quarterback. This one's pretty easy. I mean, let's see here, Matt. Are you keeping 2 or 3? Let's just say that. Are you keeping 2 or 3 here?
I think the smart move is to keep 3, right? So you can take advantage of like that emergency quarterback rule. Like obviously only 2 are active on game day, but then like the third one dresses, which like at the beginning of the year, that's what Aiden O'Connell did, and that's what Brian Hoyer ended up doing last year. So I think you definitely keep 3 to make sure you have that in your back pocket as your case of emergency. I do think there'll be a battle between Brown and Carter Bradley Jr. or not Carter Bradley Jr. Gus Bradley's son, Carter Bradley. And I don't know. I like Carter Bradley a little bit more than I like Anthony Brown. But I think as we stand here right now, before Carter has done anything and he's an undrafted free agent, I think it'll probably be something like Anthony Brown ends up making the team and then Carter Bradley stays in the practice squad. So they keep 4 that way. And then again, if something were to happen to Minshew or O'Connell, like they have to go on IR, then you have someone easy that you just call right up to be able to be on the roster, be that third quarterback. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I would go 3 quarterbacks too, because I think maybe sometimes they might even have like a package for Anthony Brown or something like that, because I know Getsy does like to run zone read and those type of things, and he's probably the only quarterback that could do that effectively, right? And actually give you like a little bit of fear, like, oh, he might keep it. Minshew keeps it. I'm sure that I guess that could work. He scored a touchdown off it last year, but O'Connell is definitely not going to work. On my members breakdown for one of the offensive games, I was like, I just want to see Aiden O'Connell run the QB sweep. I just want to see the QB sweep.
Just see him not be able to do it. The only problem with doing that with Anthony Brown is then you have to make him active. Like, right? The only way to take it, the rule I'm talking about, like the first 2 guys have to get injured, and I think they have to be ruled out. So that would be the only caveat that I would say, like that where that couldn't happen is then almost you'd have to make Anthony Brown the QB too, and like
that's true.
Either O'Connell or Minshew would have to be the one that ends up actually being inactive, which I mean I guess not out of the question, but yeah, like in order for him to be able to be that like sub package guy that comes in every now and again or whatever. It's like the wildcat quarterback, if you will. He'd have to be active on game day.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but I do think they're going to keep three. I mean, if Carter Bradley ends up winning that job, that'd be interesting. I mean, he'd have to have a really great preseason. I think he's going to get a lot of snaps. It's going to be interesting if it goes. But
yeah, I'm curious. What do you like? Just not to get on too much of a tangent, but what do you think of Anthony Brown? Because I don't know. I've never really thought he was that good. Even when he was at Oregon, I thought he didn't have much of an arm, wasn't accurate. All he could really do was run every now and again. But I don't know. I never thought much of him.
I mean, when he played with the Ravens, I mean, he really didn't throw the ball well. I mean, that's kind of the main thing. I mean, he didn't keep like RG3 away, right? I mean, they kept bringing back RG3 and other guys like that. Or who's the other guy they drafted? His other backup, the dude from Utah. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Huntley.
But, yeah, Huntley. Yeah, I mean, he never beat out Huntley or anything.
Pro Bowl
like that.
Brett Huntley.
Oh,
or not Brett. No, Tyler Huntley. That's right. I get him and the dude from UCLA mixed up that played for the Packers.
Yeah. But yeah, he made a Pro Bowl for real. He's a pro.
Yeah, it was one of those things where everyone else, he was like the 8th alternate, and everyone turned it down. Because remember, he filled in for for Lamar for like a month or so, and like he actually played like decently. Like, I mean, he wasn't good; he was just solid. So he got a ton of like fan votes.
Yeah,
and then everyone turned it down, so he ended up making it.
Yeah, I mean, they would have beat the Bengals in the playoffs that year if he didn't reach over and get the ball knocked away, and then they took it for a touchdown. They beat the Bengals. So Anthony Brown, that's why I think Carter Bradley might have a chance to beat him out, and just nepotism. I think just nepotism, time to time goes like, I like Gus, I like your son, and maybe you're the third quarterback here. That might be a part of it, and especially like I said, they're going to play a lot. I mean, preseason is going to be super interesting because we're going to see how much the Minshew and O'Connell play, because I don't know if that's really going to be handled in the games. I don't know if that's going to be handled like we're just have to see them play in the games to see who wins this job. I don't know if it's going to be like that, but we'll see, because it's, to me, when you do that and you play in the games, it's like what line is the guy playing behind? Like, it's hard to evaluate in the games like that, in my opinion, because especially because you could put like O'Connell in the second quarter and he might start balling because he balled last year against against those type of guys, right? So then you get a weird dynamic there. So we'll see how that goes, but I think it will play out that way a little bit in the preseason, especially probably game 1. We're going to see those guys split reps, but training camps can be important.
I would kind of think that, I mean, but to your point of like, I don't know how many games like a guy like Colton Miller, who sat out all the entire spring, will play in the preseason. But I would think, just logically thinking about it, like one Minshew and O'Connell would get one start each in the preseason, with as many of the ones as they can. But again, how many of the ones are actually going to play? Like, is Devontae going to play more than one preseason game and 2 series at that? I don't know. I probably not. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Michael Gallup's for, so Devontae doesn't have to play the preseason. Still give you a pro guy to throw to, right? That's what Michael Gallup's for, man. That's why he's there. All right, running back. This is I went a little interesting with this one because I don't know why I did this, but I went Zamir White, Alex Madison, Britton Brown, and Dylan Lobby for running back.
I had a feeling you're going to do that. Ooh, a little spicy. Cutting the veteran, huh?
Yeah. I just don't see. I mean, Dylan Lobby can do everything Amir Abdullah could do, and he's the oldest guy there. I think that might be a cut. I could be wrong there, but I just think they need. To be honest, I think they need another running back, like a guy, just in case. Let's say Zamir White doesn't have a great start, Alex, or gets hurt. I mean, those things are happening. I hate putting the energy out there, but those things can happen. You need another running back, like a running back. Amir Abdullah can't get the carries. And Alex Madison getting all the carries, man, is scary to me. It's a little bit why I want Britton Brown or somebody to make it like that, because I just don't. I'm not very comfortable with Madison. If something happens to Zamir White, Madison kind of just taking over, just doesn't make me feel good. So that's why I kind of think that it might be Britton Brown, but it could be Dylan Lobby being that guy too. But I think Lobby's going to come in more, be the third down back, block a little bit, and then be big on special teams. I think he's going to be the kick returner. Definitely with the new kick return special the way they're doing it, he's going to be that guy in that area. So I think it's going to be, and basically, I think it's going to be Dylan Lobby. And then that's why I went Brent Brown, because I just think they need another running back. I think they need another guy who could handle some carries. And I think Brent Brown's gonna have a chance to have a good preseason. And I think he's gonna make a name for himself. He didn't play last year, but the previous preseason he played pretty damn well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you like that. I do think like you have a point of like, oh yeah, they could use an actual like traditional running back. I just think that like where I'm at right now, without having seen Britton Brown play in 2 years, like I'm gonna stick with Amir Abdullah. And 2, I think I think we're not that high on Alexander Madison, and we've watched it, and we don't particularly aren't that, again, not that high on him. I think the way they've talked about him and the way like even Tom Telesco and like the whole coaching staff has, I think they believe in him. So I kind of feel like,
yeah,
if Zamir's not playing well, I feel like they think they can turn to Alexander Madison. Not saying that's right or wrong. And again, we can get into one preseason game and Britton Brown can go off and I could be singing his praises and changing my tune pretty quickly here. That's how this works. That's why we're doing this early, so I can get my bad takes out now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think where I'm at right now, I'd probably keep Abdullah on the team and leave Brown off of it. Also could see them sticking with 5 running backs since they don't have a fullback on the team. So
we'll see. Yeah, that could be a thing. Them having 5 running backs could be a thing with no fullback. But yeah, because you don't have to have that spot for a fullback,
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, your running back's a little boring. I mean, most of these positions is boring for competition wise, to be honest. Besides the quarterback.
Yeah. Quarterback and cornerback are the only real intriguing ones.
Exactly. All right, wide receiver. I know some people think they're going to keep 6, but I kept 5, and I think it plays into what you said about fullbacks, which get into tight ends in a second. So I went Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, Michael Gallup, Tulu Griffin. I think Tulu Griffin's going to make the football team.
I was kind of hoping someone would say DJ Turner just to spice it up a little bit. Excuse me here. So you said said Tay, Myers, Tucker, Gallup, and then Tulu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that.
Yeah, because if you just, I know DJ Turner is there, but I don't. Has DJ Turner had a great kickoff or anything like that? I'm trying to think of.
Not in the regular season. Not that I can think of. He's another guy that like, and this is what I worry about a little bit, not to circle back on it too much, but with like Britton Brown, of like one of those guys that the Raiders just seem to be famous for, that's really good in the preseason, and we just don't see anything from him. Like, and he gets opportunities, like he's had chances, and he just, for whatever reason, never gets over the hump and just kind of floats on the roster bubble his entire career. So yeah, I don't know. I like Griffin a lot. I'm intrigued by him. Like you said, I think he can return kicks. He's faster than Turner too. Like, I know 40 times aren't everything, but like I think Turner ran like a 4.6. That's why he wasn't drafted or anything like that. So yeah, I kind of like Tulu to make it, just spice it up a little bit. I like the 5 you went with.
Yeah. I think Tulu, I think his film was pretty good. I was kind of, when we showed it, I was kind of shocked that he didn't get drafted because he can run routes. He's fast. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But he production wise was low. It probably had a lot to do with it. He's just kind of an unknown guy at Mississippi State. Especially with how much they're passing with Mike. Mike Leach at the end of his career, you expected maybe to get some more targets. But I think just from that aspect of him being able to run routes, he can return kicks. He's a very shifty guy, and he can make things happen that way. I think he has a chance to make this football team. But I just like the depth, the wide receiver. I think Michael Gallup's a good depth guy. I think they're a little more injury proof this year at wide receiver than even last year. I think last year, it was kind of dead, but now I feel like they're a little more injury proof with like Michael Gallup, because Gallup's not bad. He's a solid wide receiver in the NFL. You know what I mean? So it's not the worst 4th wide receiver to have.
Yeah, I mean, when we broke him down, or when I broke him down earlier, like I was like surprisingly impressed. Like, I'm like, again, I don't think he's the dynamic player where he was like 1,000-yard receiver and 900-yard receiver, like that 2-year run that he was. But I think he's still a good guy to have off the bench that can sneak up on a few teams every now and again and be that, like you said, like that 4th wide receiver, that weapon off the bench that maybe you're not paying attention to, and he ends up making a big play every now and again.
Yeah, for sure, man. Um, all right, so wide receiver kind of set there. Like I said, this is the easiest 53 man rejection I've done in a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's so easy. So tight end. Tight end. I went because you brought up no fullback. This is why I went for. I saw Vinny did one earlier this year, and he had three. But yeah, it's a fact they don't have a fullback. So these are our fullbacks, technically, right? So I just didn't know who the third guy was going to be. It was a toss up for the fourth guy. I mean, it was a toss up. I'm like, it could be any of those guys. So I went Zach Gentry. It's a total guess. It could be fathering him because I actually like him in preseason pretty much. It could be him, but I mean, Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, Hunter Bryant. I mean, those are the main three. It was my bad. I put Hunter Bryant on here. Harrison Bryant.
It's like, who are you talking
about? Hunter Henry is what I was thinking about. But Zach Gentry is who I went, but it's literally a toss-up. I mean, it could be any of those guys, but I think they're going to keep four.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to keep four too. Like we said, no fullback. I think that throws a wrench into things. And plus, we talked about it ad nauseum. 12 personnel, a lot of 2 tight end sets this year. So I think they keep 4. The one change up, I might going to go with let's see, I'm going to say John Samuel Schnenker.
Yeah,
just because he's a good blocker, and like that's like when we're talking about okay, they don't have a fullback. Like I feel like he could be that guy, and I want to say, and I can't remember this specifically. I think he did a little bit of that, like blocking out of the backfield at Auburn, and
he did the last preseason too. He did really well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I was kind of thinking. That's where I'm kind of thinking with him. So I think if I would change anything different from what you had I'd probably put him over Gentry, because Gentry's like a 4 or 5 year vet, something like that. He's like, he kind of is what we know about him already. Whereas I feel like Bryant he's already the vet that they have on the team that could fill that role. So I think Schenker could fill the blocking tight end role off the bench, and Fotheringham could too. And like you said, Fotheringham, he had that really good game against the Niners last year in the preseason where he went for like 85 yards, something like that. And he's again, a blocking tight end too. So he's a sneaky guy too. So yeah, a little bit of a toss up there at the bottom with those last 3 right now as we stand.
Yeah, so we might have a battle for that fourth tight end there, man. We got a battle here. Fourth tight end battle. You know?
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. So offensive line. I think this one got tougher at the end too, because I was like, how many am I going to keep? I think 9 might be the good number. I went 9 here. Colton Miller, Thayer Munford, Dylan Parham, Jackson Powers Johnson, Andre James, Cody Whitehair, Andreas Pete, DJ Glaze.
Talking all that smack about Cody Whitehair on the breakdown. You're sharpening him in right now.
Yeah, man.
Not even a thought.
Because I saw him play at center, and I was like, you know what? Maybe if we just put you at center, if somebody happens there, and we just move guys around, and we just put you at center, you'll be all right. But it goes back to how they feel about Madison. I think they're higher on Whitehair than I am. 100%. You know, they're higher on Whitehair than me, so they're gonna make it happen.
Especially like if he is like I mean, the thing that like sticks out in my mind is like he did get benched last year in Chicago with Luke Getsy, but I mean, I would imagine if he's going from the Bears to the Raiders after they hired Luke Getsy, like that's probably Getsy's guy. He probably likes him a little bit and grew on him the last 2 years. So who were your backup for? Glaze, Pete, Whitehair, and who?
And hold on.
Do you have a fourth?
No, is that 5? No, I have 8 here. That's because I can't count. So I have 8 here, actually. My bad. So then just add in Dalton Wagner. That's what
okay. Over Meredith?
Yeah, because they can move all these guys around.
Yeah, because Pete can play guard, tackle. Whitehair can play center or guard, which is what Meredith can do.
JPJ can play guard and center.
Glaze can play guard and tackle.
Parham can play guard and center. I think.
Yeah, Wagner is like the only guy that like I feel like maybe he can play guard because did he even play in the preseason last year? I remember he got injured pretty early.
Yeah, I don't think he played last year in the preseason.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean he's a big dude, 6'8". Like I remember him, lots of traits, lots of tools that you could use. WWE guy too. He's got like a future contract or something like that. Had like an NIL deal with WWE. So,
does he really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
If you look at him too, he's got like that Undertaker type of look and vibe to him. He's got like the long hair, like he kind of looks like Robert Gallery back in the day a little bit.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, just a monster dude. So he's a guy that I'm actually kind of excited to watch in the preseason. So I can stick with you on all Wagner. I don't know, something about Jordan Meredith. I don't know, just the fact that he can play both, and he was stuck around on the team last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he is a good kind of when he's played, he's actually played pretty okay, to be honest,
Yeah,
when he's
yeah,
got a
he's been a
chance.
good backup. Yeah, he's been a good backup interior offensive lineman.
So yeah, there is a chance, but yeah, I do think that just they have so many versatile guys that I felt like last year they didn't have any guards, but now they have a bunch of guys who could play guard, but they could play different positions, and I think that's a good thing. Because even you got to think, you talk about Glaze, they might have Glaze play guard too a little bit, even though
Yeah,
I'd rather him if they want that to happen. I'd rather him start playing guard now, like in the preseason, so he could learn and instead of just like throwing, hey, let's have you play guard for the first time in your life in the NFL. I don't think that's the best way to
well,
look at things.
you could go with like if you want to do it, you could put Pete at tackle, Glaze at guard, and Wagner at right.
Yeah.
And two, Renji McKenzie's kid.
Oh yeah. Nepotism. Can't forget nepotism, man. It's
Yeah.
it's a thing. I didn't know he was still around. He's getting
Yeah. I every time I see him on the depth chart, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Renji McKenzie's kid on the team. Coker too is another guy to keep an eye on.
yeah.
He might make the team. I mean, it's probably going to be between like him and a guy like Dalton Wagner to end up making it. So one guy that was an undrafted free agent last year and the guy that's an undrafted free agent this year. I think when I broke him down, he was good pass protection or decent pass protection, but like just run game didn't give you really much of anything. Like I think he could be in a lot of trouble there, but
Mm.
definitely a guy to keep an eye on again when we're filling out the depth chart and heading into the preseason.
Yeah, because I mean, for offensive linemen, I think the games play a bigger factor than some other positions. I think how those guys look in the games is going to be a big factor because even when you think about it in practice, like they're going full speed and they're going doing a lot of the one-on-ones and stuff, but it's better when they're actually blocking somebody else and we're actually watching them do that. So that's could be kind of an impact on some of these linemen because if Coker has a good preseason and he looks like a good right tackle there, he's going to probably jump over Wagner. If Meredith looks really has a great preseason and plays a lot of games and he does pretty well, he might get that job too. So I think that's going to play a factor for them there for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our offense done. The Raiders offense, I mean, it's just it's not the
How
most
many players
exciting
are we
group in the
at?
world. We are at 7, 12, 16, 25.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. So we're at 25. We're at a good number. We're at a good number here. All right, so D line, I got 10 on D line. So of course, Crosby, Kuntz, Wilson, Janarius Robertson. Everybody's putting a Boga in there. If I said I said that's his name right, David
Goa.
Agoa. See,
There's no B in that name.
David Agoa, right?
Yeah.
I went Ellerson Smith because he's an undrafted guy. I think, isn't it? Ellerson Smith.
No, he's a vet. He was a fourth round guy out of Northern Iowa, but
Yes,
he's
he
like,
did. Good.
yeah, he bounced around. Like he's never really stuck. But yeah, he's a fourth round pick like 3-4 years ago. I don't want to say.
Yeah, yeah. So I went with him because I think that he's gonna kind of be like more the veteran type of thing that they want. I don't know if they're gonna go young at the position because they're already young there. So I went Ellerson Smith, but just because it's not gonna be the exact 53 that I thought. So I went somebody else, Ellerson Smith, and then John Jenkins, Adam Butler, Christian Wilkins, and I went Nesta Jade Silvera for more of a backup nose tackle type of thing. So
You still, I mean, I don't want to put Nesta at nose, but
yeah.
I do like him as a backup, like a 3 technique. I like him better than from what I saw last year. I like Nesta better than I like a guy like Byron Young. I thought that I was hoping I might be able to sneak that one on you, but yeah, I kind of, I mean, between Matthew Butler, Byron Young, and Nesta, I think those 3 guys are going to be competing for like the backup 3 technique spot,
Mhm.
or roster spot, I should say, behind them. And I kind of like Nesta to win that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I said, Byron Young, like I always thought he was drafted at least around too early. I think his ceiling is like being a solid to good run defender, and I don't know if he'll ever give you much as a pass rusher. He's just not very athletic, very clunky, and he was bad against the run last year in the preseason. It was pretty ugly, and that's why he ended up being a healthy scratch for the second half of the year, and his opportunities during the regular season were pretty rough. Whereas Nesta, like, I like what he brings to the table, man. He just gets off the ball and like can get penetration. Like, I don't know if I trust him to be the nose tackle like you're talking about a little bit. I don't think he's like strong enough and big enough at that. Like, I think he's only like if he's at like he might be like a 300-pound dude, but I do like him as a guy that can penetrate and get off the ball and like and do the one gapping stuff like and whatnot and use his quickness. The one guy in the D tackle room that I think might be a sneaky guy to keep an eye on is Marquand McCall, because he's the one guy that can actually back them up and be John Jenkins like backup at that nose tackle, because he's a big dude. Played for the Panthers coming out of college, and I mean, obviously hasn't been great. Maybe he ends up. Maybe he's a guy that's a better candidate for the practice squad in case something were to happen to Jenkins and they needed somebody to step in for him. But yeah, he's another guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, because I think if you look at the way this D tackle group is put together, they have a ton of three techniques, not very many nose guards besides behind John Jenkins, obviously. And I mean, I love Jenkins. We've talked about how much I like him. Guy is 35. You want to have someone around in case something happens to that dude. He's getting up there in the NFL senior citizen age at that point. But so Marquand McCall, guy to keep an eye on in the preseason and training camp too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because Nesta is funny. Nesta had a good game, and then he just made a stupid post, and then he didn't play anymore. But he played well that game.
He did. Yeah, he did. I sat there and said I thought he earned more playing time, and then they put him to the practice squad next week. I guess I
never played again.
Yeah, I gave him the Matt Holder jinx. It was my fault. My bad, Nesta. I'm apologize for that. It was kind of your fault, but also kind of my fault.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of both. All right, linebacker here. So linebacker, I went 5. I went Spillane, Diablo, Masterson, Eichenberg, and I went Kanai Muaga as the 5th one, just because he's special teams guy. So I think he's gonna make it because he's gonna be a special teams guy, and then kind of get rid of Bernie a little bit, and Darren Butler's still there. I don't think those guys are gonna be able to beat out Muaga. Just for that case, because Muaga, he is a special teams guy. That's why he's on the team last year. That's why he, got to stay on the roster last year, in my opinion. So I think he's a guy. And and when he played against the Bears, I mean, he didn't play that bad. He didn't. Yeah. He didn't play that bad.
Is it Muaga or is it Mauga?
Mauga? I don't know.
It's spelled Mauga. It's M-A, not M.
Is it M-A? It's not,
Polynesian names usually trip me up.
I thought it was M-A-U-G-A. Did I spell that wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't Muaga be M-U-A-G-A?
Oh, see, God, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so Maga. I think I don't know. You could be right. And like I said, I'm not the best with Polynesian names. So
me either, bro.
I like that too. I know. Go
ahead. I was gonna say anything.
Yeah, I like that too. I was just gonna say, like Darian Butler, like it feels like him and Masterson were brought in at the same time, and like I feel like we're pretty similar players, and it seems pretty clear that like Masterson's kind of surpassed him on a few different levels on special teams, gotten some few snaps in the game last year, and I feel like this is probably it for Darian Butler. And the crazy thing is, I felt like the reason why he got onto the team last year was he's AP's guy coming out of Arizona State, and again, he's just hasn't done much. Bernie, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of surprised when they drafted him. He's just such a liability against the run, and wasn't great in coverage last year when they relied on him to be. So, yeah, I like your 5.
Yeah. I think the linebacker, it's gonna be interesting to see how these guys perform. But if Spillane keeps playing like he did last year, I think they'll be fine. They'll be all right group there.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be free up front to roam a little bit. I think with how they're gonna be able to play the run, they're gonna be a lot more free, and they just got to make plays. They got to make those tackles. They just can't be missing tackles and stuff like that, like they were the Colts game. They can't do that. You know what I mean? So cornerback, I went 6. So we got Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs, Jacorian Bennett, Brandon Facion, DeCamerion Richardson, and I went Sam Webb for the last one. I went Sam Webb.
Devonshire cut.
Yeah, because he's a 7th round pick.
Yeah, I mean,
it can happen.
Not out of the question.
Not out of the question. I think he might, and anything, he's a practice squad guy, right? So practice squad, but I just think Sam Webb will get that initial bump up there where he's on the team initially. Because did he get hurt last year, or did he?
I think he played. Okay. He's another guy. He's kind of similar to Butler, where it's like you've been intrigued by him, and then like when he gets his opportunities, he doesn't really live up to it. Now he played 73 snaps in the preseason last year. So he just let me see. Did he get any playing time? He played one game against Detroit and he played 10 snaps against Detroit and got a 41.8 PFF grade.
Nice. Way to go.
Oh, that was with that's right. He went, remember Carolina picked him up. He played with Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. And then
he came back? So they re-signed him? Like what?
So Carolina, so he didn't make the team last year. Now it's coming back to me. He didn't make the team last year. He was on the practice squad. Carolina, maybe I have the wrong guy, but I think it was when J.C. Horn got injured for the 10th time. They picked Webb up off the practice squad, and then he, I think, finished the year with Carolina, and then now he's back in Vegas. Maybe he came back at the end of the year. Maybe Carolina got rid of him, but yeah, he actually played for Carolina a little bit last year. 10 snaps last year.
10 snaps. All right. And got a 41 grade.
I don't know what he did, but it wasn't good.
Maybe he went up against St. Brown or something. All right. So, yeah, but I think that he has a chance to make the team. I mean, Devonshire might be that guy just because he's the draft picks, but, 7th rounders get cut all the time. I mean, let's keep it real. Right. I think Richardson's not going to get cut, though. I mean, he's a 4th rounder. I just think he's going to
he won't get cut. He's too much of a project. Yeah, I don't know. I would just, again, for me, personally, I'd flip Devonshire and Webb just because they have the pick invested in him. And like I said about Sam Webb, it seems kind of like for a while, it's like we've been relying on his like traits and potential and waiting for that to come to fruition. It just hasn't until he kind of proves me otherwise. I think I'm gonna go with Devonshire, go with the pick, but and that can't argue with it.
Okay. Yeah, just corner. We were doing Friday Night Live, and we pulled up the Football Outsiders Almanac, and I just looked at the corner. It's like my first time like actually looking at it, like staring at it. I was like, oh man, please sign somebody.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was thinking, I'm like, well, they did sign like Marcus Peters like a couple days before camp, but then I like went back and looked. I'm like, yeah, but Marcus Peters visited like May. Like we haven't heard anything other than Steven Nelson, who ended up retiring. Like we haven't heard them do any sort of movement. So I guess they like the guys, man. I think Telesco must like Faison because brought him in with the Chargers, right? And that's where you got to start, and it's kept them around. But I don't know.
It's just like if you just like add like Stephon Gilmore, like.
I know Gilmore had an injury, but at this point, what is he going to sign for? Like $4 million? Like they have $31 million in cap. Like, what's the point of not bringing him in? Like, yeah, I don't get it. Like, you don't have to guarantee him anything. Like maybe that was part of the problem is they're scared like the Marcus Peters situation last year, but Peters kind of came in and was guaranteed a starting spot. Like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
at least see what the guy can do. Kick the tires on him, and like, bring him in, but.
I mean, he was okay last year. It wasn't like he sucked. I mean, he was still the best defensive football.
Yeah, he was good last year. He was like decent for the Cowboys. Like he's not the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year anymore, but come in and be probably one of the better corners on the roster.
Yeah, man.
Might push Jack Jones the best corner on the roster at this point. I mean, I like Jack Jones a lot, but let's be real. Jones has played like Jones has made 5 starts in his career. Like. Bring in someone, but not up to us.
Yeah, that's not all right.
4 safeties.
4 safeties. So I went Epps, Morig, Palomau, and I went Trey Taylor. I just a little
Snappy
nepotism
Chris
there
Smith.
too. Yeah, a little nepotism in there too. I think he's Ed Reed's cousin. But I do think watch because I in preseason and in camp I think he's gonna make some plays because he's a playmaker and he's gonna stand out that way. Like he's gonna make some plays. He's probably gonna get a pick in preseason or something crazy, and like just show off his playmaking skills, especially with playing against a third string quarterback, and he's gonna be just totally leave his mark where he's supposed to be and go pick the ball off. He's the type of guy, so he's gonna stand out that way. I think his playmaking and his ability to just make plays, it kind of stands out. I mean, it's gonna be a battle between him and Chris Smith, and maybe they end up keeping 5 safeties and they kind of take from a different
4
position.
linebackers instead or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it might go that way, and it depends on what these guys do on special teams though too. But we don't hear too much about Chris Smith on special teams right now, and if Trey Taylor is a bigger guy and he can find out a way to get on special teams, he might make the football team that way. But maybe it's just a little bit more. I'm a Trey Taylor fan, so.
Yeah, I mean, I like Trey Taylor's game, and like I think what you said kind of convinced. Like when I thought, like, part of me wants to be the contrarian and go with Chris Smith over Trey Taylor and be like, Trey Taylor would be on the practice squad. But like you said, I think it does come down to like those two, or if they want to keep, or like not keeping one of the linebackers we talked about and keeping just 4 linebackers and getting rid of maybe a guy like Malga and putting Malga on the practice squad, which I think they did with him last year and just called him up every now and again. But my argument for Chris Smith would be he's the less exciting player, but he does his job more often and he's not going to get beat as deep. Like when we watched Trey Taylor, like one of his issues was the guy would get a little happy with keeping his eyes in the backfield and get caught every now and again, maybe a little over aggressive. But like you said, like against a third string quarterback, third string quarterbacks in the preseason, I think he'll be able to get away with that and maybe make more plays than he ends up giving up. Whereas like a guy like Chris Smith, I remember I had to like make a post to defend him. I'm like, this guy's right there. He's just the guy that's like, I'm not going to get beat deep. I'm going to do my job. I'm just not standing out. Whereas Trey Taylor might go outside of his area, and sometimes it results in a big play like a pick. Sometimes it can result in 6 points the other way. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they want to balance that. But I can see the argument for any guy right now. And I guess if we're going to put one together, I'll cover all our bases. I'll go Chris Smith with Trey Taylor on the practice squad for now.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Chris Smith. And then, of course, kickers, it's the special teams. Last 3 guys, they have to make the team. So you have to do those. Yeah. They didn't even practice, man. They didn't even practice. So they just go out there and kick a couple times and go home.
It does have to feel comforting to like go into training camp and be like, yeah, there's no one behind me. Like, you have to keep me. Even if you're Jacob Bobenmeyer, it's like there's not even another long snapper. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go here, collect my checks, snap for an hour or whatever, and then we're just gonna chill. Like, what was it? They were talking about with like I think it was AJ Cole was like interviewed. He's like, yeah, like sometimes we get bored in practice and like we argue like who would win in a fight. Like, what was the Trent Sieg with like no thumbs or AJ Cole and like one arm tied behind his back, and who would win a fight between those two guys? So yeah. Being a kicker, a long snapper, that's not a bad gig in the NFL.
It really isn't, man. It really isn't. I went to school with Trey Junkin's son. He's like a long snapper for the Cardinals for years. They had money, man. He's pretty laid out kid. His son was trying to be like him. Wasn't as good. Say that. All right.
Nice.
He was a long snapper. Just definitely got replaced about my junior year. Anyways, different story. Different thing. It's kind of sidetracked, but that's our 53-man projection. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Argue with us in the comments. Tell us what you think. If we got something wrong, or I don't know. It's really easier this year. There's not too many pieces. I feel like the same team's kind of coming back, so it's not too much to field. I mean, the main competition is quarterback, but we'll see how that goes. See if Minshew can, take that job from O'Connell. Because I mean, based on what Devontae Adams says and him throwing his helmet all over receivers, I think O'Connell's going to get started.
Yeah, maybe that's what we should have let off with, like just how much Jimmy or Aiden, God, how much Devontae Adams just hated Jimmy Garoppolo. Now that I can finally get those words out, because I mean we knew it wasn't like good, and we knew like he wasn't happy, but seeing that like he was livid, he was done with Jimmy.
By the Patriots, they're winning game. They're winning the Patriots game. He's like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, when he drops like I like Jimmy, like I like him as a person. When you drop that line, I'm like, no, you hated him. I'm reading between these lines. You did not like that guy.
He's a good person. Imagine Jimmy Garoppolo watching that. I mean, I guess he's a good person, but no.
That's the dating equivalent of a girl telling you, be like, you're a nice guy.
Yeah, you're a nice guy, but you're
like a brother to me, Jimmy.
You're like a brother to me. Oh man, did he hate Jimmy Garoppolo? Like I honestly, I've never seen a wide receiver hate a quarterback that much and like openly show it on the sideline. Could you imagine being Jimmy Garoppolo, like trying to lead the team, and you just got your wide receivers being like, I can't survive this, man. It just he hears it.
Like I think it was the I'm pretty sure it was the Lions game where he was just like, just throw the fucking ball. I'm like, there's no coming back from that. There's a reason why he got benched that game. There's no coming back from that. When your receiver, just throw the ball. And you know what? He was right.
He was right, man. He was. Because my favorite thing about that show is like his mood just changed when Aiden O'Connell became the starter. Like his everything about him.
Yeah.
He was super nice to him too. He was like super nice to like, maybe because he's a rookie and he knows he's coming along, but he kind of likes how he works and stuff. Because I think Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't a tape guy either. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo's a film guy.
Well, I think what also like just, and this is again coming from Devontae's comments, like he talked about it too. Like what didn't help him out is like he came in with the injury, then had to have surgery, then missed all of OTAs and minicamp. Whereas Aiden O'Connell, like even though he wasn't the starter, was still getting those reps. And like I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, man, I feel like we could have seen that like coming a little bit more of Devontae liking him, because they had to get all that time in the spring to build chemistry together. Whereas him and Jimmy, or Jimmy was on the sideline and they couldn't, get that connection. And then obviously it never worked out, but yeah, water under the bridge at this point. So
yeah,
but I think we are seeing a little bit of it like now, like we were talking about before, like Devontae sitting there saying like Aiden's the guy pretty much at this point. It's Aiden's job to lose, to use his words exactly. Like, so definitely seems like he at least likes him.
Yeah.
He's like
the media does what they want Mystery to start, man. They want the something to talk about with the Raiders, because Brett Coleman just it was weird. I was like, he just assumed that there's a starter, but then they kind of like knock the Raiders because he is the starter, which makes sense to me. Like if he was a starter, I wouldn't be too happy about this year either. I'd be like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but I don't know how it's gonna go. But so because I was wondering like why people are so low in the Raiders. I'm like, but if you think Minshew's gonna start, then that makes sense in my head. Okay, all right, that's why you guys are lower on the Raiders, because you think Minshew's gonna be that guy, and I don't know how that's gonna work if he is that guy, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has a breakout year. Maybe he looks like he did as a rookie. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. All right, we're out of here, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Make sure you get a t-shirt too. You got the TDL merch here. Let me get my thing here up here. Boom. Go get you a shirt. Thank you everybody else who supported that already. But we are out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this as we get closer to training camp and getting some actual film. We're about 3 weeks away from actual game film, Matt. I don't know.
Right?
Brand new game film. We're about a month away from actual. We only get college game film that quick, but we're getting close. We're getting close to new film. Like we're watching old film all summer. Yeah, it's good. We're close, man. We're pretty close. We're getting to watching some third string players. They ease us into the all 22. Yeah. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited for football. So, but like I said, guys, we're out of here. Peace.